This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, good morning. Today I want to discuss a few concepts on top of our Hello World program. We discussed our basic SOA program right in the previous session. I just want to show you some concepts here. Okay, I want to discuss about something called domain. So what is this domain? I mean, we are discussing right at the time of deployment of our service. So multiple places we are discussing about this domain. Okay, so I will give you more information about domain. Generally, a SOA developer no need to worry about domain, and we never configure domains. Okay, I mean, as a developer, it's not the role of a developer, but administrators mainly play with domains. But even a SOA developer must have some understanding about the domain. Okay, we will have some advantages if we understand this one and its architecture. Okay, right. So guys, there are two different setups, server setups. Okay, number one, I will say developer environment, and another thing is server environment. Okay, when I said server environment, it can be production, or it can be a non-production as well. Okay, it's no need to be only production. I will give you some scenarios and some use cases to make you understand the difference between production and non-production and developers environment. Okay, this can be production or non-production environment, and this is developers environment. Okay, so to set up the developers environment, we need a bunch of softwares to install. Similarly, the server environment, if you want to install, we need a bunch of softwares. Okay, so to set up the developer environment, we need JDK, which we installed right earlier in the earlier sessions. We discussed this SOA quick start. SOA quick start. So these two, according to the version, I mean, as of now, we are talking about 12.2.14. So you need to install JDK and SOA quick start. And number three, we configure integrated domain. Integrated domain, I mean, which comes with your JDeveloper. Okay, we configure the domain and we start the domain, correct? So, but when we are talking about server environment, of course, here also we need JDK, but we don't use SOA quick start here. Okay, we have to install different softwares. I will tell you all of them. We need Oracle database, okay, and we need RCU, we need application server, which is nothing but WebLogic. In our case, we use WebLogic, and then we have to use SOA extension for WebLogic. Okay, and we should use OSB extension for WebLogic. Okay, and then we configure domain, or we can say standalone domain. Okay, see, left side, it's a developer's environment. We need only three things: JDK, SOA quick start, and integrated domain. Okay, very less configuration. Developer environment need very less configuration, and everything is easily configurable. Okay, everything is, you just select, click, and finish. That's it. But if you want to have a real server which can handle the load, lot of load, okay, so you must have this setup. All these things you need to install. Okay, so different components. And the seventh step is a configuration. It's not installation, configuration. Up to starting with step number 1 to step number 6, it's an installation. But step number 7 is a configuration. I will explain more detail. But if you check the developer's environment, step number 1 and step number 2 are installations. Step number 3 is a configuration. Any questions till this point? Any questions?
No, sir.
No. Okay. So If we want server environment, we have to install these many applications, right? 1 to 6. But when we are going with developers environment, we are installing SOA Quick Start, something called SOA Quick Start. How it is possible? How we are avoiding all these softwares, Oracle DB, RCU, application server, SOA extension for WebLogic, OSB extension for WebLogic. Why? How we are avoiding or how we are skipping all these things and we are managing with a single software, that is SOA Quick Start. Okay, guys, SOA Quick Start is such a ready-made component. It's a ready-made component which enables the developer to make sure to quick start the development. Okay, this contains all internal components. Whatever I am asking in the server environment, everything this guy will contain. Everything this guy will contain. Okay, so but it's a pre-configured infrastructure. It's a pre-configured infrastructure. Okay, and this guy comes with everything, inbuilt components. I mean, we don't need to install them separately. Okay, this guy contains Derby database. Derby database. We don't have Oracle database here. We have Derby database, which is a file-based system. I will show you. Okay. Now, number 2, it contains WebLogic infrastructure, or we can say RCU setup. Okay, and it contains WebLogic, I mean application server. It contains SOA extension. It contains OSB extension. Of course, this extension is for WebLogic. Extension for WebLogic. Okay, so whenever you are playing with SOA Quick Start, you just install SOA Quick Start, a single installation, but all these things will be installed in the backend. Okay, so the SOA Quick Start will take care. We no need to install them separately. But if you want to do a proper server setup, so you have to install each software as an individual application. Okay, now if you see this, we need application server. And there are several application servers available, but in Oracle SOA suite, we use WebLogic as our application server. So generally, WebLogic is meant for Java programs, not for SOA programs or OSB programs. Okay, WebLogic is not the own product of Oracle, but Oracle acquired it. Oracle purchased that organization and they owned it, and they enhanced WebLogic with new features. So WebLogic is originally meant for Java programs. Now, if you use only WebLogic, it will not help you to run the SOA program. So we have to install this SOA extension and OSB extension to run SOA programs and OSB programs. Okay, but if you install SOA Quick Start, everything will come. I told you, right? These are all the internal components. Step number 5 to step number 9, everything is an internal component to SOA Quick Start. So you remember, right? You already installed SOA Quick Start. I have shown you a demo how to install SOA Quick Start. Okay, at that time, we did not install all these applications separately. All are installed along with SOA Quick Start Wizard. But for the server, individual server, okay. Oh, sorry, I missed one more thing here. Along with this, there is an important component called JDeveloper IDE. Okay, this is also comes with your SOA Quick Start, which is not available in server environment. This JDeveloper IDE is just meant for developer purpose, correct? So this will not be included in the server infrastructure. Are we good? So understand the terminology, guys. If you don't understand something, let me know. Okay. So hope everyone is clear till this point. What is the main difference if we want to set up a developer machine or a server machine? Okay. So in the developer machine, installation is very simple, very easy. We just need to install SOA Quick Start. It is over. Okay. Which comes along with JDeveloper IDE and other components. We don't have Oracle database here. We have Derby database. Okay. come to server infrastructure, we have to install each software separately. Each software we need to install as a separate component. Okay, and we don't have JDeveloper in the server environment. Done. Now I want to talk about domain. What is this domain? Sir, whatever we did in the developer environment, step number 1 and step number 2 is an installation part. Server environment, starting with step number 1 up to step number 6 is an installation. Okay, but the last step which I am talking currently, domain, is not installation. This is a configuration. This is a configuration on your installation. So whatever installation completed, whatever installation you completed, see step number 1 and step number 2 installation completed, you can configure a domain. So domain, in an easy words, I can say domain is an instance of installation. Domain is an instance of installation. Instead of using the domain directly, what we can do, we configure this domain. So each domain behaves as a server. There are types of domains. This is one integrated server, integrated domain, and I'm talking about standalone domain. I will show you the difference. But the basic baseline, what is a domain? It's a instance of server, instance of installation, instance of server installation. Okay, so it is something like, I mean, just for an example, it is something like, if you know Java class, Java object. Okay, don't worry guys, if you don't know Java, that's not an important thing. I just took the example. Every Java class, we can create an object for every Java class. Not only one object, you can create multiple objects on one Java class. Similarly, you can configure not just one domain. Once you complete the installation, step number 1 to step number 6, if you complete the installation, okay, you can configure one or more than one domain as well. Okay, each domain you can treat as individual server. Each domain you can treat as individual server. You don't need to you don't need to do multiple installations. One installation is set up, one setup is enough to configure 3 servers, 4 servers, 5 servers. Suppose I want 4 servers. What I need to do? I need to configure 4 domains on the same installation. So installation is something like class and domain is something like an object. So what I want to say is, in simple words, domain is an instance of installation. You can configure multiple domains on one installation. Is the point clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let me show you what this domain contains. Sorry. Okay, so when I'm talking about domain, mainly this guy contains a few components, guys. Few important components. So this is machine. Okay, machine, you know machine, right? Machine means computer. The whole infrastructure, it's a machine. Okay, and this guy is database. Maybe in the same machine or in a different machine, that's not really matter here. Okay, you can have a database. It can be any database, guys, not just Oracle database. You can use any database, but suggestible is Oracle database. Okay, Oracle recommended is Oracle database. So we should have a connection between this machine and Oracle database. Okay, and here within the machine, if you configure the domain, mainly it contains multiple nodes of the server. Okay, when I said node, it's a hardware component. It occupies a port number in your machine. I'm just taking example of the port number. No, it's not a static port number. You can use any port number, guys. You can use any port number. Every machine has a port number. Sorry, every machine contains collection of port numbers, every computer. Okay, so we can take any port number. Most used port numbers are 80 is one most used port number, 447, 9001. I mean, there are so many port numbers. I will show you all of them. Admin node, managed server, I will say SOA managed server. Let me make it two parts. Okay, SOA managed server, and this guy OSB managed server. Okay, so when I am talking about a domain, okay, so this is the configuration of a domain. So the domain contains one admin node, or you can say admin server, SOA managed server, and OSB managed server. Okay, so what these guys are doing in your domain, we'll discuss that. And we are expecting a database. So in this database, we will have SOA infrastructure. SOA infrastructure. Okay, nothing but bunch of SQL statements. Okay, what is this? Bunch of SQL statements. So what happened? I will explain. There is a concept called dehydration store. Okay, if you understand the concept, then it will be very easy. What is the role of this database? Okay, I mean, the domain discussion, I'm not going to talk about much more details about SOA infrastructure and the database. We'll give you minimum information, but in the next concept itself, we are going to talk about dehydration store and dehydration process and other stuff. We'll see that later. Okay, but in this session, I'm just concentrating on the domain configuration mainly. Okay, and here, if you see, this is the basic standalone domain. Basic, I used the word called basic. I will tell you why I'm saying basic. Okay, so this is a basic standalone domain configuration which contains admin server, SOA managed server, OSB managed server, or some other server as well. I mean, Fusion middleware, Oracle Fusion has many products. Okay, Oracle Fusion. So it has many products like SOA, OSB, BPM, ADF, okay, ODI, ESS, MFT. So there are so many products comes under Oracle Fusion. Okay, so all are following similar installation process, similar domain configuration process. Suppose if you want MFT server, so what we need? SOA managed server, OSB managed server, MFT managed server. Okay, so I will tell you what is this admin server and managed server. So these guys, the admin server, SOA managed server, OSB managed server, everything is a WebLogic server. So total 3 WebLogic servers are running here, 3 WebLogic servers. So what they are doing is they are distributing the workload. They are just simply distributing the workload within the server. So what happened? This admin node is a kind of leader, is a leader or the responsible guy. This guy takes the responsibility of the server health. This guy takes the responsibility to manage the server. Okay, he's like a head of the server. Okay, and this SOA managed server and OSB managed server, they took the load of running the programs. So see, yesterday we tested a SOA program, right? That means the SOA program was deployed into a server and we are able to access it. We are able to access it with a concrete visual. We run the program. Okay, when you run the program, to execute the program, this SOA managed server will take care of SOA programs. OSB managed server will take care of OSB programs. Is it clear? So admin server is the head of the whole server configuration. Okay, it will check the health of the server. It will check each managed server is doing his job or not. Okay, so I'm giving you in simple words. I'm trying to make you understand what is the role of the admin server. Okay, so admin server is a kind of leader. This guy monitors the complete server infrastructure and server health. If anything is down, this guy will give an alert. This guy will watch it. This guy will do the required stuff. Okay, but to run the SOA program, we have a dependency on SOA managed server. If you want to run the OSB program, you need to have a dependency on the OSB managed server. Okay, so but suppose this is a basic standalone domain, I said, right? Basic standalone domain. But guys, this configuration is not enough. This configuration is not enough for a production machine. Okay, this is one basic standalone domain. But for production machine, we need little more complex configuration according to the load on the server. I mean, how many SOA programs, how many OSB programs we want to run, how many SOA services we want to run. Let's assume I want to run 500 SOA programs. With this standalone domain, it will be very difficult. Okay, I have a huge infrastructure. Okay, I have lot of people using my server. So many people are going to use my server. Okay, at that time it will be very difficult with the basic standalone domain configuration. So what we need to do is in such scenarios, okay, what we do, we go for clustered infrastructure. I will talk about clustered infrastructure. Okay, so but before going to clustered infrastructure, I want to talk about integrated domain. So this is not integrated domain. So the integrated domain, it is pretty basic. Even it has less performance than basic standalone domain. I will show you. I will give you some information here. So the integrated domain, it won't contains managed servers. It won't contain managed server. It contain only admin node. Okay, integrated domain. Integrated domain. So this is the one we are using right now, correct? So we installed SOA Quick Start. And within the SOA Quick Start, we configured integrated domain. So it is a very basic server. It gives you even less performance. I mean, capabilities are not different. See, basic standalone domain, advanced standalone domain, and integrated domain all are having same capabilities. Okay, but performance levels are different. Okay, so if you take the integrated domain, this guy contains only admin server. This guy don't contains managed servers. Okay, and mostly we are using 7001 as our port, 7101 as our port number at the time of install domain configuration, correct? If you remember 7101, I mean the port number which we are using here, right, to log in into your enterprise manager. To log in into enterprise manager, we are using a port number. This is our WebLogic port number. Okay, so this is the port number. This is the port number assigned to admin node. Of course, it's not static. At the time of domain configuration, you have an option to change this one. Okay, but once you configured, you must use that port number. Okay, so now what is the difference between this standalone domain and integrated domain? What really happening? In integrated domain, we don't have a separate SOA managed server and OSB managed server, but we can run the SOA program, we can run the OSB program in integrated domain. Is the point clear? Even though there is no SOA managed server and there is no OSB managed server, but still we can execute them. Okay, why? Because what really happening, guys, I will tell you one small example. in your near to your home, you can see a small store, kirana store, correct? Small store, if you consider, there is a shop owner. He keeps some products in his store. If any customer like you and me, if we go to the store, he will sell the products. If we ask for something, he will take our money. We have to pay for that product, and we need to take the product. Okay, and he next day he will refill the stock. He go to wholesale market. The shop owner, he go to the wholesale market, buy some products and keep them in his store. Next day again continue his business. If any new customer comes to shop, whatever customer asks, if that product available in his store, he will try to sell the product and do all the process, taking the money, giving the product, pack the product, keep it in a cover and give it to the customer. Something like this. Yes or no? Yes or no? You know that process or not? Response, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
It's
right?
happened.
Simple process.
Yes.
We saw near to our home. Now let's go to a big store like Walmart, a big store like Metro, D-Mart. Okay, so if you go to that store, will the store owner, Walmart also a store, correct? But in the size it is very big. Comparatively, a store in our street, Walmart is a very big organization. It has very big stores. It has multiple stores, not just one store, correct? So will the Walmart store owner sit in the store in a chair and sell the products? What he will do? He
No,
He will,
don't
sir. He
sell the
will be
products
developer.
like that. Okay,
he will
he
hire
has an
the employees.
infrastructure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he has an infrastructure. I mean, the Walmart owner, he has multiple stores itself. Store itself is not only one. There are multiple stores across countries, not just at one place. Okay, in different countries they have multiple stores. Each store they have a store manager. Under store manager, there may be hundreds of employees with different duties: cleaning section, product loading, procurement section, okay, sales department, finance department, HR department. So there are so many departments under the store manager. So each department will contain again leaders. I mean, the categories: senior people, junior people, trainees. So this way, the work will be distributed in a big organization. But in a small organization, maybe one person can do everything. Roles and responsibilities will not change. In a business, roles and responsibilities will not change. If it is a small business, only one person is going to take care of all roles and responsibilities. If it is a big organization, there is a hierarchy, and at every level of the hierarchy, multiple employees will be hired. Each employee will be distributed with their roles and responsibilities. All employees won't do the same thing. Procurement team only procures the products and load the products. Okay, sales team only concentrate on the sales of the product. Billing team, finance team concentrates only on the finance related things. Okay, the roles and responsibilities will be distributed to each employee. Similarly, if you come to this domain, integrated domain is meant for a developer. Developer don't need a huge configuration. Developer don't need a high performance server. Developer need a server where to test his program. That's it. Whether the program is running or not. The real load will not come to integrated domain. The real-time load. Okay. But if you take this basic standalone domain, so here the roles are distributed. SOA managed server technically is a WebLogic server. See, store manager is a human, salesperson is a human, HR person is a human, all are humans. But according to their capabilities, their interests, the roles will be distributed, the job role will be different. So similarly here, admin server is a WebLogic server, SOA managed server is a WebLogic server, OSB managed server is a WebLogic server. They are all running on a different port number within the machine, different port numbers within the machine, and each guy has their own roles. So SOA server, even though it is a WebLogic server, this guy will take care only for SOA programs. This guy don't touch OSB programs. Okay. So this admin server monitors the entire server health. Is everything is working or not? Any problem is there? So okay, server level configurations, all the stuff will be managed by admin server. So the roles were distributed. So hope you understand the integrated domain and basic standalone domain. Any questions? Any questions?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Some difference between integrated and basic standalone domain, correct? Okay, now let me talk about little advanced server. Let me take one more file. So guys, there is a configuration called cluster. What is that? Cluster. So this guy handles more load. Even it is more advanced than standalone domain. Okay. So we need server mainly for two different reasons. Number one, load balancing. Okay. And number two, failover. So these are all the main reasons why we need to go for a clustered domain. Okay. So I mean, there are several other advantages as well, but as a developer, you need to have some knowledge. I mean, these are all the concepts required for a pure admin. Okay, WebLogic admin role. But our concentration is not a WebLogic administration role in this course. This course is limited to SOA developer. Okay. So now, but it will be very helpful for you when you have an understanding on this clustered and the server infrastructure. While working with the SOA program, you will understand more info. Okay, you will get more control on the program. I will tell you what is the advantage if we know all these concepts. Okay, so anyway, so if we want to go for clustered domain, the main two different advantages are, one is load balancing and one is failover. What will happen, guys? You saw IRCTC, right? IRCTC server, especially when we are booking Tatkal tickets. So what happened? It's a time period. There is a time period, maybe in the morning 10 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. you can book the Tatkal tickets, correct? At that time, lot of load on the server. Lakhs of people try to access the same IRCTC program. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you feel the difference, right? At the time of Tatkal, how the IRCT website behaves, and regular hours, how it will behave. Okay, there is a lot of difference in the performance. Okay, so what happened? So when so many people, when so many guys are trying to access the same server, the basic concept of server is, if you deploy a program into server, the server will gives concurrent access capability to the program. Concurrent access capability, that means multiple people can access the same program from different locations. This is the advantage of server. If you don't have a server, I can run my program within my machine. Okay, if I have server, multiple people can access the program from different machines across the world. Whoever having internet connection, they can access the program which is deployed in the server. Okay, so that is the main advantage. That means we open our gates and we are asking everybody, access our program, utilize the program. You can do that. I mean, as per the program capabilities, you can utilize the program capabilities. So IRCTC, it's a program. It's not more than that. It's just a program, and it has a URL. Everybody can access the IRCTC program by using the URL. Okay, so but the load on the program is pretty different. Very high load at different time slots. Okay, to handle such high volume requests, we need to go for cluster domain. So what this guy contains, I will show you one example. So a cluster domain, whenever I'm talking about a cluster, this guy contains an admin server with multiple managed servers. An admin server with multiple managed servers, either within the same machine or in a different machine. Within the same machine or in a different machine. You got my point? When I said machine, it's a device, hardware. Laptop is a machine, right? So desktop is a machine. Similarly, a server, I'm talking about a physical machine. This can be a machine. And this is also can be a different machine. This can be machine A. Machine A. This can be machine B. So two different physical machines, okay? And this can be machine C. Or this can be part of machine A or machine B. It's just the configuration how we want to do. So what I want, this is an admin server. This is an admin server. This is SOA server 1. This is SOA server 2. This guy is SOA server 3. Okay. And here you can see OSB server 1. So guys, but make sure every node, SOA server 1 is a node, SOA server 2 is a node. Every node will have a different port number. Okay. OSB server 3. So now what happened? A clustered environment contains multiple nodes of same server, SOA server 1, SOA server 2, SOA server 3, multiple servers of, sorry, multiple nodes of same server. Okay, and there is something called load balancer. There is something called load balancer. Okay, so this guy is called load balancer. Load balancer. This guy decides how to distribute the workload. Okay, this guy connects with all the managed servers. Okay, come on. You are getting my point, right? So there is something called load balancer, is a software. Okay, so what this guy will do, the request, whatever the request received, okay, so your program, I will show you. Let's say you have a hello world program, right? If you deploy the hello world program in your SOA server, that hello world program will be deployed into SOA server 1, SOA server 2, SOA server 3. Okay, if you do only one deployment, you deployed your hello world program that goes to SOA server 1, SOA server 2, and SOA server 3. I will show you guys. Just wait for some more time. Okay. So that program will be deployed into SOA server 1 and SOA server 2 and SOA server 3, all the SOA servers. Okay, but we do only one deployment. Okay, so then what happened? This is how it will be. This is for output. Okay, if you send the input for a web service, that XML input, whatever we are referring. Okay, this load balancer is the guy. We can say, I will give you an example. Load balancer, Oracle HTTP server. Okay, there are so many load balance available in market, load balancers. Okay, Oracle also contains their own load balancer, Oracle HTTP server, or people call it as OHS. Okay, so when the request comes in, that goes to load balancer first. From that load balancer will decide who has the ability or who is free to process this request. Let's assume SOA server 1 is processing, already busy, it is processing some requests, okay, for the same hello world program. Let's assume, as an example I'm giving you, SOA server 1, let's assume each SOA server can able to process 10 10 inputs at the same point of time. Just assume it is the example capability of SOA server 1. Okay, so, and this program is accessible through internet. Lakhs of people can access this program. Okay, now I got 15 requests from different people, from different source systems, from different sources. I got 15 requests. So what this load balancer will do, this load balancer will not route everything to one server. It will not route everything to SOA server 1 or SOA server 2. It will distribute the workload. We got 15 inputs. Let's send 5 inputs to the first server, 5 inputs to the second server, 5 inputs to the third server. This way it will distribute the workload. Okay, and SOA servers will process the request and generates the output, send the response back. Are we good? Is the process clear? How the load balancer behaves in a clustered
Yes, sir.
environment. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so this is what we are calling as load balancing. Load balancing. When you got heavy traffic, the traffic will not be handled by only one server. The traffic will be distributed to different nodes of the same server. So server 1, 2, 3. So they will share the workload and they will complete the processing. See, if you are using IRCTC, what happened? There are lakhs of requests will come at the same point of time, and IRCTC will have hundreds of nodes. They will maintain bunch of nodes, and the load balancer will share the workload between the nodes. And even though on top of this infrastructure, sometimes we see server is busy, we cannot process at this time. You see that request, right? You see the error message. Have you ever experienced that?
Yes, sir, we have.
We have seen that, right? But that means
Yes.
the load is increased and servers are not able to handle. The load is more than the capacity of the servers. All nodes occupied and they have no capability, and load balancer also can't do anything. Okay, for this problem there is a solution. We'll talk about it, but still, at least we saw that situation. We saw the situation. These kind of sites, high traffic sites, and they are not busy for the entire day. If you take the IRCTC, it will be busy at least 1 or 2 hours. But that much load will not be maintained 24 hours, correct? Right. So, but still, there is a solution for that. We'll talk about it. But just to make sure, to make you understand, I took the example of IRCTC, but it was improved very much recent days. If you compare IRCTC 3-4 years back, now it was improved very much. Okay. We'll see. That's all because of technology. That's all because of different capabilities of technology. Okay. Now, so this is a clustered infrastructure where we have multiple nodes for the same server. Okay. And you understand what is load balancing with this example, correct? Load balancing. So there is something called failover. Failover. Let's assume for some reason one node is down. Let's assume SOA 2 is down for some reason. It is down for some reason. Okay. So in that case, immediately I will keep a backup server. I will keep a backup server, SOA server 3. Okay. This guy take over the role of SOA server 2 and continue the execution. So when I said take over, it's very important, guys. Session sharing capability. Session sharing capability. Let's assume you are doing some financial transaction. Okay. You are placing an order and you are doing some payment. All these things will take some time. Agree? Suppose you went to Flipkart website and you want to place an order. You selected some product. Once you select the product, you go for buy screen and you place the order. You need to enter your credit card. You need to enter the OTP and then place the order. It will take some time, correct? Everything will not be completed in a second or 2 seconds or 5 seconds kind of time. It may take some process. I mean, if you're executing some process, it will take some time. Okay, let's assume you have a SOA program which is processing an order. When I said processing an order, it contains multiple things. Placing the order means we need to check the products available in our stock warehouse or not. We need to check the provided credit card is valid or not. We need to inform the credit card department to deduct the amount. So once an amount was deducted, then we can say the then we can say that shipping team, let's make it ready for shipping. So there are a bunch of things we need to do. A program cannot be executed in second or 2 seconds. It's not, every program is not like Hello World, right? Hello World will be completed in a second, even less than a second or a fraction of second. But every program cannot do such a way. Okay. If you run a program, it may take minutes as well, sometimes, according to the complexity of the program. Let's assume a customer placed an order. That order processing service is running in SOA Server 2, just as an example. For some reason, SOA Server 2 is down. Order is in between. It's not completed. It's not in the starting place. It's not in the end of the order processing stage. It is in middle. Let's assume in that case. So then what happened? Server 2 is down. Immediately, this admin server, and there is something called node manager and admin server. These guys continuously watch the server health. What they will do, server 2 is down, they try to restart the server, and if that is not working, they try to they will kick this SOA server 3 and ask the SOA server 3 to they will ask the SOA server 3 to act as a backup server for SOA 2. SOA 3 as a backup server for SOA 2, and continue the session. The program was executed only in between, right? Half session was executed. So continue the session from there and then process the order. See, if you ask the customer once again, let's assume the program payment was completed, but order processing was not completed. If you ask the customer again, please place the order, will he do that? Will he pay for the same product second time? No, right?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So no customer will do that. It's a bad customer experience. So we should have a backup plan. If the server failed, immediately there is a failover server which will be started and which will run the program, not just running the program. It will take the running session which is failed. It will take the running session and continue the session. That is the beauty in the failover. Is it clear, everyone?
Yes,
That's
sir.
what
Yes, sir.
important reasons for cluster configuration, load balancing and failover. Okay. Any questions till now? Any questions? No?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
So hope you understand. Everybody understand. What is this? Okay. So hope everyone understand how a standalone domain looks like, how an integrated domain looks like, how a clustered domain looks like. Okay, you may get questions as well. Okay, so you must know. I mean, it is not just cluster, guys. Cluster has more abilities. It has more capabilities. But I'm explaining you the cluster concept just in a point of view for a developer. What info is required for a developer? In that point of view, I'm explaining the concept. But we never configure cluster until and unless you are an admin. Okay, so then only we configure the clusters. So otherwise we don't do. Mostly we use clusters in production environments or pre-production environments. Okay, any questions till now? So it's all theory. We don't need to do this. We regularly use our integrated domain. Done? Any questions? Anyone have any question? No? Okay.
Sir,
No, sir.
sir, can we install this standalone domain in our system, sir,
Yes,
instead
we
of
can.
integrated?
For sure, we can do that. Instead of integrated domain, we can do basic standalone domain. We cannot do a clustered machine because our machine itself contains 8 GB or 16 GB RAM, right? That may not helpful. I mean, let's assume if you see this cluster, each node is taking 2 GB RAM as an example. So in this picture, as per this picture, if you see how much RAM we need minimum, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 nodes, right? 7 nodes each need 2 GB RAM as an example. That means we need 4 GB. I'm just giving example. Okay, let's say each node is taking 4 GB RAM, 7 into 4.
28.
Okay, and the processor has the capability. So, and load balancer needs some RAM. Load balancer also a server. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Load balancer also can have a clustered infrastructure. Load balancer itself can have a clustered infrastructure. That means, I mean, even
It
even
contains
we
another.
yeah, it contains another nodes, multiple nodes. So this kind of setup maybe we cannot do in our personal machines. We need high configured machines. For servers, we have separate machines, rack machines available. Okay, they have high hardware, high RAM, everything. Okay, so there we
Okay.
can do. Just for learning purpose, we can do the clustered installation in our machines, but it really won't give you that performance what really expected from cluster, because our machine hardware is very less comparatively server machine. Okay, but
Okay.
in our laptop we already saw how to do integrated domain. We can also see basic standalone domain. This also we can configure. For this we need Oracle database. We also need to install Oracle database. I shown you, right, this one. We must install Oracle database. In a standalone domain, we don't have, sorry, in a integrated domain, we don't have dependency on Oracle database. We have a Derby database. I will talk about it. Okay. So, but we know we don't need a separate installation of database in integrated domain. But in standalone domain, we have to install Oracle database, which takes another 2 GB or 3 GB of RAM, at least to start the database. Okay. Right. So, any questions till now about the domain configurations?
No, sir.
No? Everyone is good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, guys.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's it for
Sir,
today. Let me stop the recording.
sir, one more, sir. Sir,